Indian car giant Mahindra is changing pace and downsizing a bit with this thing, the XUV 3XO. Now, okay, it's a bit of a long name, but it's a lot easier to get your head around. It's a new small SUV playing in the budget end of the market. But before we get into all those details and tell you everything you need to know about this car, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel and tell us everything you think in the comments below. The design, it certainly stands out. It's got a bit of boldness. You've got a bit of sort of squareness and muscularity to the front end, and it's not just another generic SUV. It's got that SUV shape though, and a bit of boldness to the side as well. And this one here's got a contrasting black roof. And again, you get a bit of that muscularity through the back end as well. Now the name, XUV 3XO, well, this car actually replaces a car called the XUV 300. Never sold in Australia, but it did in India and other markets. So why 3XO? Well, they're basically saying 3 times better in various ways. X for X factor, so sort of essentially a funky combination of letters and numbers that works for what they think is a pretty funky car. It is a small SUV, but it doesn't feel super small. Outside, for example, it's less than 4 metres from the nose to the tail, but it's got quite a long wheelbase, fair bit of distance between the front and rear wheels, 2.6 metres, and that translates to decent space back here. So not massive, you're going to be a little bit dependent on the generosity of people up front. Headroom, it's okay. This one's got a sunroof, so it's eating into it a little bit. But again, by small SUV standards, not too bad. Now up front, you do actually have decent space all around. The steering wheel, though, it doesn't adjust for reach, only for height. So getting the right driving position, a bit more of a challenge. The boot, it's sort of short, but it's actually quite deep. And you've actually got a spare wheel, a space saver, tucked away underneath it. The engine is also pretty small. You're talking 1.2 litres. Forget about 4 cylinders, this one's only 3 cylinders, but it does have a turbo. Not a whole lot of power, you're looking at 82 kilowatts, so towards the lower end of the scale. But torque-wise, 200 newton metres, and that kicks in from 1500 revs, so it's reasonable pulling power. Now on the open road, you certainly feel that lack of power. It's not going to outstrip a whole bunch of regular SUVs, but it does have that sort of meatiness in the mid-rev range. So it pulls reasonably well. It's got a bit of 3-cylinder character. I suspect if you're driving it on the open road, you'll probably have your right foot planted a fair bit. Around town though, as I said, that sort of meatiness in the mid-range there, it actually seems to work all right. Clearly we can't test it thoroughly out here, but when we get it in Australia, we'll do a lot more with this car. Under the skin, there is old mixed with new. The 3XO gets the architecture of the old XUV 300, but engineers say they have updated it heavily. They reckon this car is about 80% new. You've still got independent front suspension and torsion beam rear end. So I guess fairly basic, but should get the job done. Out on the test track, you notice that it does lean a bit. There's a fair bit of body roll going on there, but it seems reasonably well behaved. These tyres, this one's running on 17-inch Goodyear tyres. They have decent grip. The whole car is pretty respectable in terms of steering response. It's fairly light in terms of the steering, but it's relatively quiet. So on the whole, a reasonably well behaved small SUV. The 3XO will be available in 2 model variants, the AX5L and the AX7L. Now it's the 7L that I'm playing around with here today. Both of them though get dual 10.25 inch screens. So you're looking at digital instrument cluster, and on that center one you've got wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. 7L's also got a bit more going on, things like fake leather seats for example, and the trim generally is of a pretty high standard. You've got some nice stitching, some good soft touches. One exception, this sort of scratchiness here on the dash, not ideal. You are adjusting your seats manually, but hey, again, it's a small SUV. And the 7L also gets some extra bits and bobs. A panoramic sunroof, for example. They say it's the biggest in the class, and also a Harman Kardon sound system. So a few trinkets for those who want it. Mahindra has occasionally skimped on safety in the past, but no more with this car. They've got 6 airbags, and you've also got a fair bit of ADAS, or advanced driver assistance systems. So lane departure warning, for example, you've got autonomous emergency braking. You've also got speed sign recognition. What it doesn't have is rear cross traffic alert and traditional blind spot monitoring, but instead, you've got the 360-degree cameras, and you can actually see the surround view monitor in here. So I guess if you're looking at that instrument cluster, you'll get an idea of what's next to you, but it's not going to beep or alert at you if you go to change lanes and someone's there. Now the big unknown right now is the price. Clearly it's got to play towards the sharper end, the bottom end of the market to get some cut through. Now word on the street is it'll start at around about 25 grand drive away, and this one we're looking at here, the AX7L, is still going to be less than 30 grand for all that gear in it, so pretty sharp. It has to be though when you look at what it's competing with. Things like the GWM Haval Jolion and the Chery Tiggo 4. Now that Chery is 23,990 drive away, so it's got to be sharp to compete with something like that. So that is the Mahindra XUV 3XO. Bit of a change of pace for Mahindra, which has built its reputation on those sort of more heavy-duty four-wheel drives and larger vehicles than this. This one is a very important car though. Mahindra knows that. They've been building the dealer network out to try and ready for this vehicle. So it's a hugely important vehicle. We'll obviously do a lot more with this car when it lands on home soil. It's due in the country in July 2025. Until then, tell us everything you think about the XUV 3XO. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. See you next time.